Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a bit of a somber turn. Instead of our usual look at, say, history or science, we're going to share some really unsettling stories. These are real accounts that kind of highlight the darker side of interacting online. Specifically, we're focusing on chilling encounters that started on a platform many of us used a lot back in the day, Craigslist. And these aren't just, urban legends or cautionary tales, they're stark realities. Some are unnerving near misses, others are, frankly, horrific crimes. So our goal today is to really unpack the unsettling details behind what looked like, harmless online posts, to understand the hidden dangers that lurked then and in some ways still do. We're drawing on documented cases, including material highlighted in investigative reports and true crime analyses, things you might find discussed on channels focusing on disturbing backstories. Christian's story, which we'll get to first, is a really chilling example of a close call. But honestly, if that feels unnerving, the next case we'll discuss.
Well, it escalates significantly, from a near miss to something truly awful.
But let's start with Craigslist itself. It's mostly been replaced now, hasn't it? Like Facebook Marketplace, Poshmark, things like that. And a big reason for that shift, probably, is its reputation. Not just for scams, though there are plenty of those, but also because, sadly, it became a place where some really disturbing people operated. All right, so this first account. It came from a viewer named Christian in Kansas City. It starts with something that seems totally normal. An ad for an old vacuum cleaner, posted in the for sale by owner section, listed as free. The title was simple, Free Dirt Devil Vision Bagless Canister. And the description said, I'm giving away this perfectly working Dirt Devil bagless vacuum cleaner. My wife and I got a new vacuum and no longer need this. First come, first serve. Then it said, we'll disclose address after communication. It gave a phone number. So Christian, needing a vacuum, texts the number, says he's interested, gets a reply pretty quick. Hello, what is your name? Is a Christian. The seller texts back, Jackie, nice to meet you. The vacuum is all yours. When can you come pick her up? Christian asks if they can hold it until tomorrow. Jackie says, yes, sure. Okay, so the next day, Jackie texts again, asks what time Christian can come. Christian suggests 8 o'clock and asks for the address. And this is where things start to feel off. Jackie replies, sounds good to me. Give me a call. I'll explain how to get here. Chat. So Christian does as she's asked. He calls the number, but it's a man's voice that answers, not the woman he expected. Mm-hmm. Christian asks, is this Jackie? And the man says, no, that's his wife, and she's not available right now. Which is the first major red flag for Christian because, it was the same number he'd been texting with Jackie.
Yeah, that's immediately weird. Using the same number, but suddenly it's a different person. It's designed to create confusion. It subtly makes Christian question things, maybe doubt his own read on the situation. It's a way to test boundaries, see how he reacts.
Right. It's more than just a simple mistake. It feels intentional. So the man introduces himself as Brock, and he starts explaining how to get there. He gives Christian cross streets, but says it's his warehouse, and he'll have to open the gate. Now, Christian's thinking, like anyone would, a warehouse for a free vacuum. He expected a house address, so he actually questions him about the warehouse part.
Exactly. And the warehouse itself, that choice of location, is key. It's not public, it's not residential, it's an unfamiliar, potentially isolated space. The whole point is to get the person away from safety, away from potential help, to put them at a disadvantage.
Brock gives this explanation, says he owns part of a small warehouse, claims he and his wife store old stuff there, items they plan to sell, even says he's a wholesaler. Christian, well, he still wants the vacuum, so he agrees. Okay, 8 o'clock near Grandview, south of Kansas City. So he drives there. The cross streets Brock gave lead him to this really quiet T intersection. Nothing around but these unmarked buildings that look exactly like warehouses. Very industrial area. Christian parks his car, finds the gate Brock mentioned. He texts Brock, I'm here, and immediately the gate starts rolling open. Automatically, and beyond the gate, just a long driveway between two brick buildings leading into, Christian described it as just darkness. Couldn't see anything specific down there. So yeah. Christian calls Brock, but the call gets rejected. Instead, he gets a text from Brock, come inside the gated area and inside the warehouse straight ahead. But it's so dark, Christian literally can't even see a warehouse building straight ahead. And that's when he makes probably a life-saving decision. He texts Brock back and says, basically, can you bring the vacuum out here by the gate?
Yeah,
and silence. Brock stops answering. Christian tries calling the number again multiple times, but eventually the calls just go straight to voicemail. His number's probably been blocked. Christian, obviously freaked out, gets back in his car immediately and just rushes home. When he gets back, he checks Craigslist again. The ad. Gone. Taken down. He also tries reverse phone lookup on the number. Nothing. Doesn't show up on any of those phone book websites.
That whole sequence. It really shows how predators operate incrementally, doesn't it? They test the waters. Christian trusted his gut there, refusing to go through that gate, refusing that isolation. That was critical. He broke the script the other person was trying to run. And the untraceable number, that's classic. Burner phones, maybe VoIP services, ways to stay anonymous, make it much harder to track them down if something bad does happen.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying close call. And it makes you think how easily it could have gone the other way. But as disturbing as that is, it pales in comparison to where we're going next. We move from that near miss to truly horrifying reality. This next story involves a Craigslist ad posted May 24th, 2012. The ad itself looked, well, a little odd, but honestly, maybe not completely out of place for the casual encounters section back then. The person posting said he was looking for a male, aged 18 to 35, good looking, interested in being an actor in a personal movie he was making. He specifically said it was strictly for his own pleasure, wasn't looking for sex, and importantly, there was no pay involved. The poster of this ad turned out to be Luca Rocco Magnotta, a name I think, unfortunately, many of you listening might recognize, the notorious Canadian murderer. There was a whole documentary about him.
And Magnotta's background is, well, it's deeply disturbing and relevant here. He'd spent a lot of his youth in mental hospitals, diagnosed with schizophrenia back in 2002, but his online activity started much earlier. He first got attention around 2010, posting these horrific videos of himself suffocating and drowning kittens. And even before that, he wasn't exactly clean. Convicted of fraud in 2004, ran up about $17,000 on a friend's credit card. Then a sexual assault accusation in 2005.
Those cat videos, understandably, caused huge outrage online. People actually formed groups trying to track him down. A tip eventually did point to Luca, and around that same time, he posted another video feeding a cat to a snake. And in that one, he explicitly hinted his victims might become human. And tragically, someone did respond to that Craigslist ad. A 33-year-old man named John Lynn. He was a student at Concordia University, quite lonely, relatively new to Canada, didn't have many friends there. So John replies to the ad. They meet up that same night. There's security footage showing them entering Luca's apartment building together. Later that night, John sent a text to his ex, just said good morning, and that he'd see her later. That was the last anyone heard from him. Because the very next day, Luca uploads another video titled The One Lunatic One Ice Pick. And it showed the incredibly savage murder of John Lynn. Lucas stabbed him with an ice pick while John was tied up. Then unspeakable acts and dismemberment, all on camera.
It's just horrifying. And Magnotta's case is such a chilling example of how someone disturbed can use these platforms, not just to connect, but almost to build an audience for their depravity. That progression from animal cruelty posted online to escalating violence against a person, it suggests this awful feedback loop. The attention, maybe even notoriety, seem to fuel it. It's the darkest side of online performance.
When people saw that video, they tried reporting it to the police. But initially, reports were dismissed. Authorities thought it must be fake, too gruesome to be real. By then, Luca was already getting rid of the body. CCTV actually caught him throwing bags into a bin outside. And chillingly, he was wearing John Lynn's t-shirt while doing it. Then, on May 29th, back in Montreal, a janitor, Mike Naidu, found a suitcase. It had been sitting outside the apartment building where he worked for days. He'd ignored it, but then it started to smell really bad. He opened it and found John Lynn's torso inside. And even more horrifically, Luca had mailed the rest of John's severed limbs, sent them to different political parties and even elementary schools. The police figured out Luca had likely fled to Europe. Confirmed by CCTV footage of him in Germany, they finally caught him, arrested him in an internet cafe in Berlin on June 4th. Apparently, he was just sitting there reading news articles about himself. In 2014, he was found guilty. First-degree murder, publishing obscene material, indignity to a human body, criminal harassment of the Prime Minister, sentenced to life in prison. The sheer horror of the Magnotta case is almost unbelievable, but the danger isn't always that immediate or violent. Sometimes it's slower, more insidious, an invasion of privacy that becomes terrifying. Which brings us to our final account. This story involves stalking. It happened to a freshman college student. We'll just call her Christina. So Christina needed some cash, like a lot of students. She decided to sell her old prom dress and some other dresses she didn't wear anymore. She listed them on Craigslist, put up pictures of the dresses. Crucially, the listing included a couple of pictures of her wearing the prom dress to show the fit, and she included her phone number for people to contact her. Well, it didn't take long. Within an hour, her phone rings. It's a man. Christina guessed he sounded older, maybe 35 to 55. Had a slightly raspy voice. He said he was calling about the dresses. Christina was a bit surprised. She mostly expected women to be interested in dresses. The man explained he wanted to buy them for his girlfriend, said he needed to know if they'd fit her. Okay, fair enough. So Christina gave him the sizes, the prices for each dress.
And this is often how it starts, right? Seemingly innocent questions. But each answer, size, price, it's information.
Yeah.
Building a picture.
Exactly. Then the man asks for more pictures of the dresses. Christina agrees. She actually keeps him on speakerphone while she takes more photos, laying the dresses out on her bed. But while she's doing this, he starts asking weirder questions. How tall was she? How did the dress fit up there? What size bra did she wear? Christina started to feel uncomfortable, obviously. Told him that wasn't relevant. He apologized, gave the excuse again, oh, just want to make sure they fit my girlfriend. But then he asked if the dresses were tight on her. Christina says, yeah, some were moderately tight. And then came the question that just completely set off alarm bells. He asked if there was any chance she could send him pictures with her wearing all the dresses, to get a better idea if they'd fit his girlfriend. Christina just went silent for a few seconds, didn't know what to say. And in that silence, the man asks if she used to wear panties under the dresses, followed by this short, creepy chuckle. And then he says, you have a really cute voice.
Oof, that immediate switch. From supposed buyer to just predatory. It's not about the dresses anymore at all. It's about making her uncomfortable, about control, intimidation, testing how much she'll tolerate. Those comments are designed to unnerve her.
Yeah, totally. Christina, thankfully, acted fast. She immediately hung up, blocked his number, took the Craigslist ad down straight away, decided, understandably, she was never listing anything there again. But unfortunately, it didn't end there. She found out later he started stalking her. This random account named Mike Allen, no profile picture, starts following her on Instagram, sends her a friend request on Facebook. She did a quick reverse phone lookup on the number that called her earlier, and sure enough, the name associated with it, Michael Allen. It just kept escalating. She blocked both his social media accounts. Then she started getting calls constantly from a no-caller ID number over and over. That only stopped when she figured out how to enable the silence unknown callers feature on her phone. But the stalking didn't even end there. It went offline. One night, Christina looks out her window and sees a car parked outside her house. Engine running, but the lights are off. Just sitting there. She calls her dad, points it out, says maybe it's the guy. As soon as her dad steps outside the house, the car just speeds off, still with its headlights off. So at that point, her dad steps in. He sends a pretty strongly worded text to the man's number, Michael Allen's number. Tried calling him multiple times. The guy wouldn't answer, so her dad left a very loud, very angry voicemail, and that apparently seemed to work. As far as Christina knows, the stalking stopped after that, hopefully for good.
It's just such a stark example of how vulnerable you can be just sharing a phone number online. Once someone has that one piece of information, piecing together the rest of your digital footprint can be disturbingly easy for someone motivated. They go from a number to social media, maybe find location tags, eventually find a physical address. It shows how quickly an online interaction can escalate into a real physical threat.
Yeah.
It really highlights the risk in sharing even seemingly small details.
It really does. What an unsettling collection of stories we've walked through, from that near miss in Kansas City to the absolute horror of the Magnotta case, and then the terrifying persistence of Christina's stalker. And while online platforms, they offer so much convenience, these accounts are just stark reminders of the hidden dangers that can definitely hide behind a screen, and why vigilance is just so important when you're interacting with strangers online. So as we wrap up this particular deep dive, maybe something to think about is this. In our world, which is just getting more and more connected, how do we actually strike that balance? The balance between the ease of online life and the absolute necessity of keeping ourselves safe, protecting our personal information. How much do we ever really know about the person on the other side of that screen? And maybe more importantly, what intuitions, what gut feelings should we always trust? Thank you for joining us for this rather unsettling deep dive today. Until next time, please stay safe out there.